the Penguin, honestly, I was not expecting much. So, having low expectations, that always helps. Generally, I thought it was pretty well done. At least this first episode, I thought it was plotted pretty well. It was a little on the slow side. It seemed very deliberate in the way that it was moving forward. It was fairly slow, but I thought it did pretty well as far as the pacing goes. There were some really well written dialogue in there. I thought Colin Farrell did a really good job. Kind of enjoyed this first episode. I'm looking forward to checking out the next one.
Is this like a prequel to the movie?
No, this is
No,
a
this
sequel
happens
to the movie.
immediately after the film.
Oh.
Yeah, this picks up almost to the day after the film ends.
I'm not sold on it yet. It's not that it's terrible, the show, but at the same time, do I really need this show? I'm still not sure. It's trying to take itself very seriously. I feel like I have no patience anymore. There's like 7 Batmans and all these movies and everything is crappy. And now they're like, oh, he's Tony Soprano. If I just isolated it and look at this episode, it's not the worst thing that ever happened. Maybe if I see another episode and it really seems to find its footing, I'll like it more. But I feel like beyond sort of being Sopranos and Gotham, I couldn't really feel that there was anything extraordinary about it.
Yeah, they've definitely got an opportunity to completely ruin this, right? In the next few episodes. This first episode was functional. It did what it needed to do. It introduced some characters. It set up where the season is going to go with various different mechanical things that are going to happen between the different families, different plots that are going to play out over time. If they do a really smart job of introducing those things, maybe it's not going to feel like the Penguin, right? Maybe it's not going to feel like Batman, but if it's a serviceable show that actually delivers some interesting story and some interesting characters, then I think that's pretty good. I'm cautiously optimistic. I was surprised by the quality of the first episode, but I would say being sold. Is this the greatest thing ever? No, not yet. We got to wait and see. It does have an interesting cast. I honestly, I like Colin Farrell as an actor. I think he's very talented. It has Kristen Milotti, who plays this psycho, and I think she did a pretty good job. We're gonna have to see some more of her. Clancy Brown is playing a role in this. I absolutely love him. He's an incredible actor. We'll see how much of a role he plays going forward in the rest of the show. It's a decent cast. I thought the first script was serviceable. It did what it needed to do. I didn't think it was overly dull or boring. It certainly wasn't.
It wasn't boring, but I still didn't know how to feel about it. It was like it's very removed from what Batman is. So it's just like it's such a extreme reimagining of whatever this is. The question is if you're on board for it or not. And I think that was a question that I was asking myself here. I mean, it takes itself so seriously that one has to wonder if it's not taking itself too seriously.
Yes, it does.
But I will give it a chance. I'll watch the second episode. I don't watch things to hate them. I wasn't sure about it. That was the best way I could describe it. It's not that I saw it and thought it was a disaster. With that being said, there is a show that I saw this week that I did think was a disaster.
Oh no!
And that was Agatha All Along. If anybody saw those first 2 episodes.
Just real quick, do you think they decided to do the Penguin show because Joker did so well for being just like a character study or a villain?
Basically, it may not seem like it now, but there a number of years ago, Warner launched that Max thing, whether it's HBO Max and then they had Max, and they were constantly looking for things to put on there that would be interesting. Now, this is before James Gunn's full reboot, that they were still trying to find their footing and figure out what to do with DC. And you had Zaslav also, stepping in there himself. And I think that at that time, when the Batman movie came out, there was some kind of feeling of, okay, well, we did the Peacemaker show that had more to do with the Snyderverse. We did that show, and people kind of liked it. What if we had another kind of offbeat, some other kind of show that's like a spin-off out of this thing? Maybe we'll do Penguin. And
I think originally the director Matt Reeves wanted to use the Penguin as the center of a sequel to the original film, and it was then sort of brought up like, well, what if instead we made this a spin-off series that we could do on Max instead, and then that would open up something else to do for the sequel film. So it was definitely considered at one point for a film, but then it spun off into a series pretty quickly.
Okay, sorry to derail your.
The longer we can not have to talk about Agatha all along, the better.
No, it's okay. I mean, yeah. First of all, you're right, and I think that's a good reason. They thought it would be a sequel, and then it was sort of a thing that could be between this and the sequel. But I do think HBO Max, whatever you want to call it, they were looking for these type of shows, so it was an arrangement that was good for everybody. I do think now, once they brought James Gunn to reboot the DC franchise, this is kind of stuck there like a sore thumb. It's already far along enough that they have to commit to it and I guess do this show. My friend Tom Connors from Midnight's Edge also told me that he thought that even the Batman 2 may actually get made, because sometimes you have these kind of agreements with IMAX, with things like that, and it's possible that even if Zaslav hates it, he may have to go through it with it contractually no matter what. So it could be that we're going to get that additional Batman movie with Pattinson. I don't know, but we did get this Penguin show. I'll give it a chance. I don't dislike Colin Farrell. I will say this. Sometimes I see him in roles that I like him. Sometimes I see him in roles that I don't like him.
Yeah.
I think that he doesn't have the best American accent always.
No.
Sometimes he has to work harder on that. But in this thing, I think he's doing okay.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Maybe I'll watch one.
Maybe you'll watch what?
One episode. Maybe I'll watch one episode.
You'll probably hate it. You're like, this isn't the Adam West version.
I like. I don't like worship the Adam West version, but
good news. He does waddle at least. So.
Well, that's good. He has to in that fat suit, probably.
He does, kind of, doesn't he? So yeah, that was the episode. Just to get a little, is it a spoiler? Are we spoiling? I'll give a little more information. That basically, in the movie, Falcone is dead, and now there's sort of a power struggle. Let's put it that way, about what's going to happen next.
Mm-hmm.
And the Penguin finds himself in a complicated situation with the descendants of Falcone. And this episode just kind of shows him navigating the underworld and this complicated situation that he's put himself into, and it kind of becomes a bit interesting and kind of wacky towards the end. Very much a mob type of feeling. Feels very much like a mafia show.
Mm.
What do you say, Professor?
It's very like I said. If you're a fan of the mob, mafia type films, this is going to be right up your alley. It feels more like that. It feels more like a Sopranos or something akin to The Godfather or something than it does Batman. Okay. It really doesn't feel like a Batman show at all. In fact, there's not even been a mention of Batman. It's just sort of all happening in the same universe. It's happening in Gotham. So
you would think people would mention a 6-foot-tall bat running around the city, at least in like passing conversation around the water cooler or something.
Well, you'd think, but not so far anyway. Not so far in the first episode. They haven't. But.